hardest part is figuring out what you want to master.
Focus on your product.
Can you tell somebody that they suck?
You gotta just go for this is exactly what I want to do for a living.
You can't even tell somebody that their breath is fit life.
All right, here we are. Welcome to Short Story Long. Charlemagne, this is an absolute honor, man. I will say that as an what I would consider myself like an up-and-coming maybe broadcaster or something.
Up and coming? From what I heard, your podcast popping.
Well, listen, I'm 2 years in.
Okay.
I'm still getting over a lot of the humps, right? When I started, it was super super nerve-wracking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The point was this. As an up-and-coming broadcaster, I'm a big fan.
Word, thank you. I appreciate that, man. It's interesting with podcasters because I have a podcast myself. I often feel like y'all kind of got like a foot up in the game. Only because y'all get to develop y'all personalities from the beginning. Yeah. Like a lot of times in radio, they don't teach personalities to be personalities. They teach them to be announcers, meaning that they get on and they do the time and temperature. Like, hey, it's Power 10. It's Real 92.3 here in LA. The time is 7:32 a.m. The temperature is 63 degrees. Here's that new Drake nonstop on Real 92.3 LA. Like they teach you how to do that.
Yeah. Did you have to learn all that?
Nah, because the best part about me, when I started doing radio, I was fresh off the block. I was fresh off, doing nothing with my life. I was, selling crack and, going to night school, and then I was working odd jobs. So I used to be in the hood all day. So when I started off as an intern in radio, and then they finally put me on the air at Z93 Jams in Charleston, I did not know how to do radio. I always say that was the best thing about my radio career, the fact that I did not know how to do radio. So I would just go on and be forced to talk and then start taking phone calls and be talking to people because I didn't know how to do radio. Yeah. And
were you like bombing in the beginning? Like how did you learn like radio voice?
Well, I started off voice tracking. Voice tracking is when you record yourself and then they play it back over the air so it's not live. So I started voice tracking Sunday mornings 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Got to salute my man Ron White. He was the music director at the time. He asked me did I want to be on the air, and that's the slide he put me on. And I remember, man, getting some very positive reinforcement early because a woman named Tessa Spencer, who's a good friend of mine, and she was the co-host of actually The Breakfast Club in Charleston. There was a morning show in Charleston called The Breakfast Club with Tessa Spencer and Baby J. And I remember her just calling me one Sunday telling me, like, yo, you sound good. And then she was like, no. You sound really good, like a natural. Really? And she was telling me about an accident that was happening, but I couldn't report it because I wasn't live. Yeah. But just getting that reinforcement from her and her telling me I sounded good, put a battery in my back like none other. So I kind of had it from the beginning.
Yeah. So you never had it? Because one thing I was going to ask you is like, did you ever have to learn like a formal style and then unlearn it and learn how to be yourself? Because one thing about you that everyone knows you is like you're very much yourself. You call people out, like, you know what I mean? Like, did you ever have to go through that process of unlearning?
That's a great question because I started off being myself. Being myself made the program director at the time. His name was Terry Bass. Terry Bass put me on liners. Liners is when you just have to read, like I just did. Like I just did the time, temperature, in the song. Yeah. He made me go in and out because I had gotten in trouble. I got in trouble because it was this guy who used to call the radio station all the time and act like a woman. And he used to like talk sexy to all the jocks and, people would put him on the air. It just became this running thing. And then like people from the town that the person was from was like, yo, that's not a girl that be calling in. That's a dude and his name is such and such. And I remember going on the air when she called and I was like, yo, your name is really such and such. You not a woman. Stop playing. And then she threatened to sue the radio station. So he put me on liners. So when he put me on liners, a new station already had popped up in the market, Hot 98.9 in Charleston. And the program director was my man, George Cook. George Cook is now the operations manager at K104 in Dallas. So when they put me on liners, George Cook was calling me in like, yo, come over here and be yourself. We want you to do night. I was only doing part-time at Z93. So George was like, we want you to do nights, 7 to midnight, Monday through Saturday, here on Hot 98.9. I want you to have like a morning show at night. Yeah. So lo and behold, he was preparing me for my future without me even knowing. He was like, I want you to totally be yourself. Yeah. Raw and uncut. And I went over there and raised holy hell. Man. Yeah. So yes, to answer your question, I started off raw, got put on liners, left that situation, went over to Hot 98.9 and
then from there it was on.
It was on, but I got fired from Hot 98.9. You know,
And I want to go through that too, like in order. But is this too? My other question was like, is this how you always have been around your friends and stuff growing up? Like this was always your personality?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, because growing up, you know, we used to crack jokes. You know, like we would always clown on each other. Nothing was off limits. It was like when I think back on it now, I'm like, yo, were kids as advanced as we were when we were young? I don't know if it was the circumstances. You know, I'm talking about. I got molested when I was 8 by my cousin's ex-wife. So I remember talking about, you know, being with women back then. You know, we'd be sitting around with my other homeboys who were 8 and 9 years old, talking about older women that we had been with, and we were 8 and 9.
Yeah, that's insane.
You know, and then as we got older, like we would try, like I remember doing things like trying to steal people's credit cards, to use them in stores, and you know, running out and drinking 40 ounces in 8th grade on campus at Berkeley Middle School. Like we were just wilding at a very young age. So yes, the conversations were always high level, laughing, joking, snapping on each other. People's houses, you know, people getting evicted, people's parents being on crack, like nothing was off limits. Yeah. So that's just how I came up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like nowadays, like kids that are like resourceful are good at like getting more followers on Instagram. Like I feel like it's just a different. You don't have to be as like resourceful out in the world. You know what I mean? Like these, like I meet young kids now that are like finessing the system of social media. And it's like, cool, I get it. And that's like valuable now. But I just don't think, I don't know. I feel like when I say these type of things, I start to seem like the old bitter dude.
Here's one thing I've learned about social media. I've learned, at least from me, my perspective, the people that certain people start gravitating towards on social media, a lot of them, I'm not going to say a lot. But there are some cream that rises to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody like DC Young Fly is DC Young Fly in real life. Yeah. When you meet him, you know what I'm saying? And when you talk to him and you understand his story, you get why he's where he is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like Jess Hilarious, you know, she is on Rel's show on Fox now, but she was started on Instagram. Like she is who she is. You know what I mean? Like when you meet her in person, you get it. She is that person she is on social media. Somebody like Cardi B. You know, Cardi B is who she is in real life. Like they got some type of magnetic personality that makes people gravitate towards them, whether they're on social media or whether they're, you know, doing music, doing television, doing movies. They'd have been who they were regardless. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these motherfuckers don't have no personality whatsoever. Yeah. I had a TV show on Uncommon Sense. It was a talk show. I did 3 seasons on MTV2. And I had this idea just to like, yo, let's try to elevate these voices on Black Twitter. Like, you know, they got these personalities online and people are always retweeting them and liking their tweets and they so funny online. Yeah. So let's bring some of them in. Yo, we auditioned like 100 people.
Did it work or not?
No. Out of those 100, it was like 1. My man Taxstone, you know, he's locked up right now. But you know, Taxstone and maybe like one other like Kaz or somebody. But other than that, it was like, nah.
Because it just doesn't translate, right? I mean, some people just are good on the phone and not.
They go with their thumbs, not with their tongues.
Yeah, because this is another scenario I just want to give you, and I don't want to sound like I'm playing this dude out because he's a friend of mine, but I have a friend who used to work here doing marketing, and his sort of mission at that time was give celebrities and athletes and whatever product, work for different brands, whatever, like follow that career path. He ended up getting so good at hacking growth on Instagram that he made a page for his dog, for his pug, and he now makes a living off of getting sponsored posts for a pug page.
That's stupid.
So that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that there's like people are figuring out how to finesse like the wrong thing.
Well, that's not, I can't even say that's your man's fault though. That's the audience's fault. Like you can't, like that's the consumer's fault. The consumer chooses what it wants to consume. You know what I mean? So if the consumers are saying, hey, we want to, you know, go to this pug post every day. I can't really be mad at your man. I'm looking at the consumers like, yo, this is so stupid.
It's just, that's what I mean when I say like they're not being resourceful like in the real world. They're just figuring out these weird, you know, like the stars are going to be the stars regardless, like the people you're talking about. But there's all that. There's this new path where you can make a living finessing the system.
I will say though that it doesn't matter what it is you're selling. Somebody's going to have a problem with it. Like I put out a book my new book is called Shook One: Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me, and it's my second book, you know, and this book is about my experiences with anxiety and going to therapy to try to figure it out. And, you know, I was keeping a journal of going to therapy, and in the process of going to therapy, I started, you know, getting to the source of my PTSD and, you know, getting to the source of, like, you know, trauma that I had from things that happened to me when I was younger. And, you know, I wrote this book, and I got these pages, and it started with the journal, but I got these pages, and I'm like, oh, shoot, this is turned into a mental health book. 'Cause I didn't know anxiety was a mental health issue. Yeah. I didn't know PTSD was considered a mental health issue. I had no idea until this year. Yeah. You know, and then it's like, all right, well, let me bring in an expert. So I got my man, Dr. Ish Major, because what I was trying to do was transcribe a lot of the things my therapist was telling me. Yeah. But I was like, nah, that's kind of whack. You know, like I feel like that information was for me. So let me bring in Dr. Ish Major, who's an actual expert in mental health, and let him give clinical correlations to all the feelings that I'm explaining. Yeah. So I put this book out. Book's doing very well, and now I got people on Instagram hitting me, telling me, well, on Twitter hitting me, telling me, yo, you're doing the mental health what Kim Kardashian did, the criminal justice reform. You know, you need to bring in some of the experts on your platform to keep this conversation going. So I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to talk about my experiences with anxiety and me going to therapy because of who I am.
But that's what all the power is. Because I just read the book, right? Mm-hmm. All the power is, and this is what I was going to tell you, is I know that you angle it a lot at like the African-American community. What I'm saying is there's so much power in like a cool dude talking about this shit because they don't, right? It's only experts talking about it. And so when they say mental health, when they get all boring, when they whatever, you just tune it out, right? I was the same way. Like I deal with anxiety like in a pretty real way. And when I always heard the words mental health, I was thinking like schizophrenia, bipolar, and like way out there stuff. You know absolutely. What I mean? And even just the concept of like exercising and sort of maintaining mental health the same way you do physical health was such a like breakthrough for me. But it's only because nobody ever positioned it that way, right? Mm-hmm. It was only spoken about by the experts and stuff. So the point is, and I know that you know this, but like all of the power is in someone like you talking about it in like layman's terms, not the experts. Word. You know what I mean?
And the funny thing is, you said I angle it towards black people. It's not that I'm angling it towards black people. I just feel like it's easier to speak about my experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother always told me growing up, read things that don't pertain to you. So I was the guy in the library checking out Judy Blume books. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Beverly Clearly, reading about all these little white girls I knew nothing about, but they were just entertaining stories. Like I'm the type of person, I'll pick up a book and read it. It doesn't matter what race you are, gender, sexuality. If it's interesting content, it's interesting content. So I prefer people who talk about their experiences and their experiences. Like I can only talk about me being a black man from South Carolina, living the life that I'm living now, and talking about the things that I've gone through. Like it's easier to just speak from my perspective.
Yeah, I get that. I just think that, I'm sure you realize this, but the fact of it not being properly spoken about, I'm sure is super heavy in the black community, but like it's in all, like, man, like it's just not talked about to young people the right way. That's why I think that what you did with this book and what you're doing and like the sort of mission that you're going on with this is like super important. I know you feel how important it is, but it's really important.
It feels bigger than me. And the reason it feels bigger than me is because I didn't set out to write a book about mental health. Like that was not my intention at all. I did not, come up with this idea last year, like I'm going to write a book about mental health. All I was doing was trying to get a handle on my anxiety, writing it down in my journal. I was writing down things that give me anxiety, things that have historically given me anxiety, and going to therapy to deal with it. And then you know how it is when you start going to therapy, man, you start unpacking shit about yourself you didn't even know that you had in you. I love my father, but I went through a period this summer where I hated my father. Then I hated my therapist for making me hate my father. And then I finally had to have a conversation with him about what was bothering me. And, we got back to a better place. And it's like just little things. Like you learn things. Like I didn't know my mom went to therapy 20 years ago because she was upset about her and my father getting a divorce. Like I didn't know that. I didn't know my grandmother, really had real bad anxiety because of a tornado that she had went through when she was younger. Like I didn't know all of that. She was just super paranoid to me growing up. I didn't know she was actually on nerve medication. So it's like you learn so much in the process. So I'm just talking about all of this in the book, and it just became this conversation about mental health. And now it's like I feel like it's just bigger than me, and I see the need for it.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, I just think this is one of those things where like the universe is just going to start working for you in this
Yes.
aspect because you're doing something that nobody does, but everyone feels. And when you
Yes.
hit something like that, all of a sudden these people are going to come out of the woodwork, and you know what I mean? Like you're just
Yes.
going to feel like, oh shit, this is really something.
The universe is conspiring for us to have this conversation. I look at what Taraji P. Henson is doing with the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. You know, it's named after her father who dealt with mental health issues, and Taraji deals with mental health issues, and she is trying to eradicate the stigma of mental health in the black community. I'm looking at what Chance the Rapper did in Chicago, donating $1 million to mental health services. Even on the Breakfast Club this year, it's like, yo, all of these different, I don't know if it's because of the energy I'm giving out or because I'm talking about my stuff so openly, but everybody's coming, having these conversations, from athletes like Tyson Fury to celebrities like Judge Lynn Tyler. It's just, I just think it's a beautiful thing. And I feel like everything is mental to me. Everything starts with a thought. Everything. Like if you
The whole world is.
The whole world.
Yeah.
If you truly believe your thoughts become things,
Yeah.
then you have to know that how important getting your brain energy is in order.
Yeah. And the other thing that I always tell people is like if I played football growing up and I blew my ACL out, right? And for the rest of my life I had kind of a bad knee and I knew I had to work on it and give it some extra love and strengthen it and blah blah blah. That wouldn't be looked at as weird. But if you had a mental trauma happen when you were young and we look at going and doing work on that as weird and like, oh no, you're weak or you lost it, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think like people don't realize all those little things are little mental traumas.
Yes.
And they need work. Like you just got to do little work, little maintenance.
Man, you know how many times I've gone to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack?
Yeah.
How many times I've gone to the problem because I thought I had an ulcer or something wrong with my stomach, and it's nothing but my thoughts.
Yeah.
It's really nothing but worry.
Yeah.
It's really nothing but stress. You know, I'm on the ride here, and I'm telling my peoples in the car, I'm like, yo, 95% of my issues have to do with somebody else. It's me worrying about other people. Like it's always some bullshit going on.
Like what they think, or like other people doing crazy shit?
Both.
Yeah.
You know, but really more so other people doing crazy shit. Like, you know, you have people in your family who going through things.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't realize when you from any environment. You know, you can be good, but you might have a brother that's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a cousin that's fucked up. Or you got friends who are experiencing things that you can't fix.
Yeah.
Your money don't fix, your celebrity don't fix. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit fixes the real issues that are going on in other people's lives and in your life.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yo, all of that does is just cause more added stress all the time. And, you know, I suffer from survivor's remorse as it is.
Yeah.
You know, like being that guy who came from this small town, who came from this environment, you know what I mean? Being like the one person of all your peers who like really, really made it, you know, and on the level that people think America is supposed to make it at, which is so whack to me. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think the concept of celebrity in America is so whack. And I think the fact that we act like you have to be a celebrity in order to be successful in America is so whack.
Yeah.
You know, it's a guy out there right now making $30,000 a year, got a car, he got a house, he keeps food on the table, and he's happy doing what it is he does.
Yeah.
That's success to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I agree.
long story long.
I agree. I like it, man.
Bullshit.
Let me ask you this too, only because, and then we'll get into the story a little bit, but because we talked about it in the beginning, like you talked about podcasters having the benefit of being able to work it out first, right? Would you say that anyone who, young person now, or it doesn't matter what age, potentially wants a job in broadcasting in any sort of media like this, should they start a podcast instantly and work it out with the audience?
Yes, they should start a podcast. They should start a vlog. They should be doing, you know, videos on their Instagram. You got artists like Ella May who got the attention of DJ Mustard because she was covering songs on her Instagram. Like, what are y'all waiting for? Like, I hate when people come up to me and like, yo, put me on. How do I get on? What the fuck do you mean? How do you get on? You got every outlet that's already on. All you got to do is get on these outlets and start giving the world whatever it is that you got.
Yeah.
You build it, they will come. Remember those old Wendy's commercials?
Yeah.
When if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Yes, if you build it, they will fucking come in 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
I didn't have this growing up, Drum.
Yeah.
I didn't have none of this shit.
Yeah,
I had to go do it the old fashioned way.
Yeah.
And by the time I had gotten all my new jobs came because of social media. Like I remember, Wendy Williams, her producers were listening to my interviews because I was posting them online and I had things that were going viral. I got to shout out websites like All Hip Hop and SOHH because they were around way before there were hip hop blogs and they were posting interviews that I did. And that was a big deal back in the day. Guys like DJ Vlad, they had mixtapes and there was like the Beef. They used to call them the Beef series. And he'd have all of these different beefs from the culture on these CDs and he'd be posting interviews that I did, different artists getting at me, yelling at me, screaming at me, because this shit been going on way since in Columbia. When I was doing radio in Columbia, South Carolina, with Buffy the Body screaming at me, or T-Pain calling me on the phone to bark at me, me clowning T-Pain for sounding terrible when he used to sing. So those were the platforms that we had to use.
Yeah.
But I can remember when me and Little Duval started doing the Hood State of the Union, which was a web series, my man Cadillac Jack hired me. I'm not gonna say he hired me because of those videos, but when I had gotten fired from 100.3 The Beat in Philly, and I was just doing that, he saw those videos. Yeah. They used to watch those videos, so there was always a platform for for our voices to be heard. And now these kids got more platforms than ever. Like you think people aren't scouring the fucking internet, listening for those new voices? Yeah. Listening for that next talent, you think they're not paying attention to podcasts? How can you not pay attention to some of these podcasts that's getting 300,000 listens a week? I want to know why 300,000 people are into this shit.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you because I could see the next question being, one thing that you've done incredibly well in not only social media, but just media in general is being incredibly unique, right? You have your own voice that isn't like anyone else's. Mm-hmm. And when someone comes to the Breakfast Club, you watch it because you want to see how Charlemagne interviews that person. Mm-hmm. So in this sea of so much information, so many podcasts, so many Instagram pages, how do you be unique? How do you stand out?
By truly being myself, because all of our DNA is different. Mm-hmm. Everybody on this planet has different DNA, just like no two snowflakes are alike, no two human beings are alike. The problem with us is we get caught up in what we see working for other people, and we try to emulate that, or we become characters of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I've been guilty of that subconsciously. If I step back and I'm honest with myself, I think about at a point when they was calling me the hip hop Howard Stern, or the black Howard Stern. You see that in magazine articles, because I'm not sitting around thinking about myself. I'm not sitting around like, oh, I'm the hip hop Howard Stern. But when you start seeing people say that about you, and you start seeing the interviews that people may gravitate towards, you subconsciously start trying to give people more of that. Yeah. And to me, that's whack. That's not really you being yourself. That's you being what everybody wants you to be. So constantly being yourself is doing exactly what I'm doing now, taking people through those journeys. Like I'm a father now. I'm a husband. I don't cheat on my wife anymore. You know what I mean? Like I talk about all those experiences, the good, bad, and the ugly of my life, whether it was, getting arrested for shit, or, cheating on my wife, or my wife cheating on me and telling me that the guy she fucked had a bigger dick, and me taking Magna RX pills from the back of the Source magazine and doing penis exercises where I'm grabbing the tip of my penis and stretching it, trying to make my dick bigger because I'm mentally fucked up because she just told me this guy's dick is bigger than me. Or right now, my journey of, I've been dealing with anxiety my whole life. I'm trying to get a handle on it. Yes, at 39 years old, I realized that I don't have it together like the way I thought I had it together, and unpacking all of this bullshit from 40 years of my life. I am sharing my real experiences with people. You know why? Because it's therapeutic for me. Yeah. And I have the platform to do it. Yeah. So why wouldn't I? Because I feel like, Drum, man, you go through all of these experiences in life to share them with other people, so they don't make the same mistakes. Sometimes things happen to you so God can work through you. Yeah. I'm the type of person, I always said smart people learn from their own mistakes, wise people learn from the mistakes of others. I went through all of this shit so I can share it with other people. My favorite thing to tell people is learn from me. Yeah. I literally told one of my homeboys that today because I saw him making a fatal mistake, and I'm like, bruh, learn from me. Yeah. Charlotte did that, so you don't got to go through that. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think in the way it works today, like it used to be where you kind of could invent this character and go play the character like on TV or on radio or whatever. But like it's now the people that are winning are the people that are telling the truth. Like you can't hide behind some character anymore. You know what I mean?
It's the age of transparency.
Yeah.
So when you live in the age of transparency, you know, everybody can see through you anyway.
Yeah.
Like they can see through that facade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and I think that when you see people and you don't know exactly which way they're going to come this time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, it's always one through line, right? Like with me, I think my through line is I'm gonna always be honest. I'm gonna always be authentic.
Yeah.
You just don't know what I'm gonna be honest and authentic
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to grow. I'm not afraid to evolve. I'm not afraid to unlearn any of the bullshit that I've learned. None of that.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to be my authentic self at all times.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the universe rewards honest people, man. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
Like, what's there to be afraid of?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta really, if you're gonna really live your truth, so nobody can use your truth against you. If you're gonna really Eminem and 8 Mile this thing, then do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't beat me with none of these sticks. Yes, I got insecurity sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, I get overwhelmed with things. You know what I mean? Yes, I have anxiety. Yes, I have fears. I have things that scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
You know? But so what? I'm gonna learn how to deal with it. I'm gonna learn how to handle it.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's a gift. It's something like special. Like the way you connect with people with that is something really special. My other thing is like, how do you, as someone who deals with anxiety and also someone who is known for not being afraid to like straight up confront people and say the same thing you said on another radio show, like how do you not get anxiety in like a Birdman situation or a Beanie Siegel? Or aren't you like, if that was me, I'm just being honest, I would probably have a panic attack and leave the room.
Because I believe in irrational anxiety and rational anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Rational anxiety to me is when you are fully aware of the source of your anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise to you. What causes me to panic attacks is when something scares me that I didn't know was going to scare me.
Yeah.
That's when you have the panic attack, when you weren't prepared.
Yeah.
I know what I've said about Beanie Siegel.
Yeah.
I know what I said about Birdman. I knew they was coming in there on the rah-rah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I say I always miss the days when people would just straight up fight you.
Yeah.
Because when they fight you, you just know it's a fight.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to panic about. You're either going to fight or you're not going to fight.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's a video when these dudes tried to jump me in front of the radio station. Dude pulls out the camera. He's like, yo, can I get a drop? The morning before that, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm still a little surprised, like, yo, what's up with you guys in these drops? It's 5 a.m, you're pulling out cameras.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was 2012, 2013. I'm like, what is this? This is something new.
Yeah.
And somebody punches me in the back of the head. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So I take off running, then I turn around to see what the fuck's going on. I see 3-4 dudes running at me. Oh, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
Easy fix, you know? And initially you have a panic attack, like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you turn around and you see what it is, and then you get it. You're like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the Birdman, Beanie Siegels. I know they coming in there on the rah-rah. It's nothing for me to do other than take a couple deep breaths and let's talk. And by the way, I'm more scared of not saying to them the same thing I've been saying about them.
Yeah.
Because I'm more scared of what the audience is going to say.
Yeah.
Now the audience is looking at me like I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
Now they don't take my words serious anymore.
Yeah.
Because, oh, you the guy that's gonna say all of this stuff when they not around, but when they in your face, you're not gonna keep that same energy.
Yeah.
I don't respect personalities like that.
Yeah.
I don't respect broadcasters like that. I actually look around sometime and I see a lot of people that they compare to me, and I'll be like, why are y'all comparing them to me when they've never said any of this stuff that they say when the people aren't around to these people's faces? That's what separates me from everybody else. That's the energy I like. I like to see people keeping that same energy. Don't talk about somebody, talk to the person.
Yeah. You're really good at it. Okay, so let's jump into the story real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're from Moncks Corner, South Carolina. You shout it loud and proud.
Population less than 8,000. Well, it's about 10,000 now because people been fucking. But
You made it popular.
yeah, they fucking.
You grew up in a trailer.
Single wide trailer. Yeah.
Can you just paint for me like a picture of what that's like? What childhood there is like? Like, what did you do for fun? Like when you were super young, what did you like? What is it like growing up there?
You know, it's interesting. I maybe a couple years ago, I was just on my phone on Snap when Snap was popping, and I went inside my old trailer because it's still in my mom's backyard. We actually used to rent it out, and you don't realize how small that trailer was.
Yeah.
Like you walk in, and my mom and dad's room was to the right. Then it was like what was supposed to be the living room area. Then it was like the kitchen. Then it's like the room I used to be in. Then you walk down like a small hall, and it's a bathroom in the back, and then the room my sister used to be in. And I'm like, how the fuck did we live in this shit? And you know, just growing up for fun, we used to, you know, we had the woods. We used to play in the woods.
Yeah.
Cause you had like the woods, and you had like a path that you could walk through. We used to play in the cornfields.
Yeah.
We used to play basketball all day. We used to get on our bikes and just ride down different dirt roads all through Monk's Corner. You know, you had like Scotchman's and, you know, Citgo gas stations. Like we would get on our bikes and ride to if we had any little money for candy. You had neighboring neighborhoods like Conifer Hall. We'd go there and kick it with the kids in that neighborhood. Like everything was outdoor activities.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even when Nintendos and stuff started to come around, we'd play Nintendo. But we wouldn't be in there playing Nintendo all day.
Yeah.
You know, you play Nintendo for a little while, but then like being outside was fun.
Yeah.
Like being one with nature was fun back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, go when you get, you know, somebody get old enough to drive, you start going to Walmart late at night. You know, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
24-hour Walmart popped up in the town, and you walk around there all morning.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, as you get older, you start getting introduced to weed and, you know, drinks and pussy.
Yeah.
And then now it's
And then that takes over.
Yeah. Now she got your little girlfriend staying with her grandma because it's easier to sneak into grandma's house than sneak into the mom's house. And now you riding your bike 3-4 miles just to go get some pussy, and you sneaking into grandma's house. It was a regular rural area living.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I often say to myself, I had absolutely no reason to believe I could be in the position that I'm in right now.
Yeah. And did you believe that at a young age?
I always felt like I was destined for greatness on some type of, I hate the word celebrity, but celebrity level.
Yeah.
Because I used to be in my grandmother's yard, and I used to be standing at the edge of my grandmother's yard because it's like it used to seem like this massive field when I was young. It's not that massive now, but it used to seem like this massive field, and I would literally act like I was the leader of a rock group.
Yeah.
And I just always had these stupid visions of like, you remember like the Thundercats and like I thought I was like one of them. Like it was like I was like a part animal, part man, and I don't know why I would think that. And I would be playing guitar and acting like I was like playing guitar for millions of people all the time. So I always felt like I was supposed to be on the stage in some way, shape, or form. I always felt that way. Always. I remember getting fired from this place called Industrial Acoustics Company. It was a warehouse, and it was me and a couple of guys, and we were in. They had us out like in the field, literally like knocking down weeds, and there was like this big metal platform. I guess it was like an old foundation of something. I don't know. And I remember standing on that and like dancing and singing and acting like I'm cracking. And they're all laughing at me, and the supervisor's just looking at me, shaking her head like. Her name was Gail Cobb. She fired me too. Like
for that or no?
I don't know. She just called me in and told me that I didn't fit in with whatever they was trying to do.
Yeah.
So
what age was that? What age was that around?
Oh, I'm bad with this kind of stuff. I had just gotten out of jail. I went to jail in '96 for assault and battery with intent to kill. So I had to be like, let me see, maybe 18, 19, I think. I don't remember.
What age when you started getting into like drug dealing and shit like that?
I started hustling like, let me see, I started hustling like 97, 98, because I got arrested from high school. Like I was always hanging around the guys who were hustling.
Yeah.
But I never was hustling myself until, me and my man, we went to jail. I was sitting in the backseat of a car, and like some dudes pulled up on the side of us, and my man let off a shot at them. So, no snitching.
Yeah.
So we all went to jail.
Yeah.
And I got arrested from high school. I was going to Stratford High School at the time. I got arrested. And then when I got out, maybe I think I started to try to work some odd jobs. And I think I tried to work at Industrial Acoustics maybe. I don't remember the exact timeline, but I started selling dope like around that same time frame.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it was like around 97, 90, 98 maybe.
Yep.
And then I think I stopped when I got my internship at radio.
Really, that's what
like
stopped
99,
it?
yeah. I had
That's
like
great.
2-3 years of drug selling.
Yeah. And what, like, before that fighting, and you said your friend shot at a car, like all that stuff was just going on all around you before that.
Oh, 100%.
So that was just life.
Oh yeah, Hmong Horn was wild for the night. People think that it don't go down in those small towns. That's where it goes down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you had dudes that were in Hmong Horn making hundreds of thousands of dollars from the dope game.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? Like it was really going down. It was everything that you would think any big city trapping would look like.
Yeah.
It was looking like that in Hmong Horn. People was getting shot. They were getting shot at. People were getting robbed. Yeah. You had the big dope boys riding around in the big cars and all of that shit.
Yeah.
I never was one of those guys. I used to hang around
Yeah.
all of those guys, but I was never more than a half ounce type of guy.
But did you ever want to get, like when you started dealing drugs, did you ever think that would be a path you would take to that level? Or did you always know, like, I'm just doing this for now?
For me, it was more so like, why am I hanging around all these hustlers and not doing what they doing?
Yeah.
Like, it was just pointless, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, my man, God bless the dead, Jarrell, like, he put a $100 slab in my hand and said, man, get some money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you here all day, like, what you just hanging around for?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like, so that $100 slab turned into me and eventually buying my own quarter spoons, which is, 7 grams. You spend $250. You're supposed to make $100 off each gram, but you never really make $700 off it. You make more like $500, $600 maybe. Mm-hmm. And it's just like I did that for a while, and then the most I ever got to was like a half ounce. So it was more so I was a product of my environment. It was more so association. You know what I mean? Than anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to do that. My mom was a English teacher. My father, he did construction, and my father actually sold dope too. And he had his problems with drugs and alcohol as well. He was in and out of rehab, when I was younger. So I didn't have to do what I was doing. It was just the people I was hanging out with.
And through that whole process, did you still keep that, like, I'm going to go on to bigger, better things one day mentality? Or was there ever a period when you felt like maybe that was going to be your life?
Nah, we always, you have those moments where you like, oh, okay, I can sell quarter spoons for the rest of my life and make $600 a week and be okay. But, that's just dumb young thinking. But I always thought bigger and better because me and my man Jarrell used to want to rap.
Yeah.
So me and my man Jarrell used to write rhymes, and we used to, we went to the radio station. It had a radio station in Charleston called 100.9. Like, we actually went to the radio station to freestyle and stuff like that. So it was things that we were considering taking real seriously, I went on to, like, get involved with the radio station, and then I started meeting like other people who were, had local studios in South Carolina. Like, it was one studio in particular called TNT Records. Yeah. They had an artist by the name of Infinity the Ghetto Child. It was owned by a guy named it was Tabby and Tyrone, and I think Calvin. And it was just dope, you know what I mean? And we used to go there and record, but I think at that time Jarrell was locked up. He was in jail, if I'm not mistaken. Uh-huh. So I was out still moving and, thinking in that manner, but he was locked up at the time. Yeah, he definitely was locked up at that time because I remember Scrap died in 2001, 2002 maybe. I'm so bad with dates, man. I don't remember.
You're pretty good. I mean, the way you remember names and shit, you're pretty good.
I remember people, but I'm so bad with dates. But I do remember him. I think it was 2001.
Got it.
Yeah, he was locked up then because I remember going to the wake and Drell was in handcuffs. Like, they let him come to the wake, but he was still in the county uniform. I mean, in the jail uniform with handcuffs on. Yeah. So it's like, we always we had dreams. It's not like we were just sitting around like, yo, we gonna sell crack for the rest of our life. Like we wanted to be big time rappers, I guess. Like I remember being locked up and writing down Bad Boys roster for 1997 and putting my name down and putting Jarrell's rap name, which was International, putting his name down as you know, on like as Bad Boy artist for 97. So that was kind of like a vision board in a way.
That's funny. It's funny that a lot of people I talked to like early on, like had vision boards or like affirmations, but they didn't know what they were.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they were visualizing shit before they even knew that was like a practice.
Exactly.
It's so good.
I got Wolverine tattooed on my arm, holding a microphone in his hand.
When'd you get that?
When I was freaking like 18, 19.
That's amazing.
And I didn't even know. I was like, okay, I'm a rap.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, the mic represented
so
rapping.
that was got it.
You know what I'm saying? Look how trash that is. Dude named T. Willis did that.
Where's the microphone?
See the mic right there? The mic right there.
And that's because you were going to be the Wolverine of rap?
Yeah.
That's so good.
And I thought I was going to be a rapper, but the microphone ended up representing this.
Yeah, who would have thought?
You know, broadcasting. You know, I didn't know. But at the time, I was like, yo, I knew a microphone was going to change my life. Put it like that. That was that. When I look back on it now, I knew without a shadow of a doubt, a microphone was going to change my life.
Yeah. Let me ask you this too. Would you say that you, not to make this cheesy, but did you sort of find broadcasting or did broadcasting find you? You know what I mean?
I would say I found broadcasting because, you know, it got to a point in my life where I really started listening to my father, and my father would always say, in order to change your life, you got to change your lifestyle. So when I stopped all the bullshit I was doing in the streets and I started working a bunch of odd jobs, and I had like 2 and 3 jobs at once. I did telemarketing at a place called Paragon Solutions. I was the guy who would call your house and try to sell you 10 CDs for a penny, courtesy of BMG. I worked at a clothing store in the mall called Demo. Salute to Nikki Collins. You know, she hired me, and we follow each other on Instagram. I love Nikki. I haven't talked to her in forever, but she just was one of those people you never forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then where else did I work? Where else did I work? Demo at the mall, telemarketing. Oh, the internship. So that's how I ended up getting the internship at the radio station, because I used to, I was at TNT when I first met this guy. His name was Willie Will. And then we'd be at, maybe I met Will at Never So Deep Studios first. I don't remember. But I think I met Will at one of those recording studios, and I just asked him, how did he get in the radio? Because he was a local radio personality. And I just asked him, like, yo, how'd you get in the radio? And he was like, I went down there and I got an internship. And I'm like, it's that easy? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, y'all don't got to be in college or nothing? And he was like, nah. And so I went down there and filled out the internship papers, and I got an internship. So I started off as an intern at, you know, Z93 Jams. And
what's that mean? Like, what type of stuff were you doing?
Getting the Jock's Pizza. You know, going to the different remotes and helping them set up their remotes, putting posters up, driving the station vehicle, the different remotes, just like, that's it. You know, regular intern duties. And then I was a little different because I could get weed for people. You know, because I still had a hand in the streets. So I could get weed for people and stuff like that. And so they liked having me around. You know, like you give a Jock weed one time, like, hey, man, here's some weed. Hey, yeah, you know what? I like you,
You're our favorite intern.
Where's Charlemagne at? You know, man, can Charlemagne drive me to this remote? Stuff like that. So I used to just be around all the time. And eventually my man Ron White, he was like, yo, man, you should, you ever thought about being on the radio? Because I used to go in to Willie Will's show, you know, because Willie Will was teaching me how to run the board, and I would just, he'd open up the microphone and let me talk. So I'd just be in there talking, and Ron was like, yo, man, you should be on the air. You ever thought about being on the air? And I was like, no, but I am now. And so that's when I started doing the voice tracking I was telling you about.
That's the part of it. That's kind of what I was getting at, is the part of it that I think is so cool is like one thing I see a lot is people pick one dream when they're super young, and they kind of, it's that or nothing, right? It's like that or like life's unfair. And it just sounds like what you were able to do was like, know that you wanted to be on a big stage, know that you had something to give to the world, but like be open to what came your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, but also I am that type of person. I will play with the cards I'm dealt, but I always felt like I only had one thing to. I was willing to do whatever though, meaning that if life had dealt me the hand of working at a warehouse, I would have worked at that warehouse. I would have provided for my family in that way. If I would have had to work at Demo in the mall, I'll provide for my family in that way, you know. But radio was the path, and radio was the thing that was a passion of mine. It was that thing that I just knew, this is what I want to do with my life. I just remember being in the radio station doing overnights, 12 midnight to 6 in the morning, and saying to myself, yo, if I do radio, I want to do it on that level. Yeah. You know, so I was looking at the Angie Martinez's and the Tom Joyners and the Doug Banks and the Sways and the Big Boys, the Big Tigger. Like, I was like, I want to be one of them. Yeah. Wendy Williams, you know, starring Buck Wild. I was like, yo, if I'm going to do radio, I want to be on that level. Yeah. Because those motherfuckers, they got personalities, and it seems like they being themselves, and they popping. Yeah. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I just kind of got bit with that bug, and you know, Drama, I didn't go to college. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any degrees. Yeah. You know, so this is all I got. Yeah. When you talk about all or nothing, like, that's what I had was radio. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And then did you take me through, I think this is what you mentioned, but like, take me through then how you went from intern, like what was the process at that particular station?
Ooh, okay. Well, I started off as an intern, and then the internship program actually got cut off. They let go of all the interns because at the time, the promotions director there had got into what we would now call a Me Too, Time's Up situation with one of the interns. Yep. So they deaded the whole program. Yeah. And then it's this guy named Haji, man, and I'm still looking for Haji. I don't know where Haji is. I don't know if Haji is dead, if he's alive. I've talked about him in my book. I've shouted him out. I just want to talk to Haji because Haji took over the promotions director position. He was a gay man. And Haji hired me as the new promotions director. I mean, not the new promotions director. He hired me in promotions at Z93 Jams. Like, I remember calling the radio station just to say, yo, man, you know, when y'all bringing the internship program back? And Haji was like, who is this? And I said, this is Leonard McKelvey. And I'm like, Charlemagne. And he was like, I hear so much about you. Like, because all the jocks used to talk about me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was like, I hear so much about you. He was like, well, come down here. So I went down, so he gave me an actual job. So basically, I was still doing intern duties. Yeah. I was just now in the promo department. And Haji was just so cool, man, because that was like the first gay person that I ever worked with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was like, I wasn't used to that. But he was just cool. So it kind of like opened my mind up to people are just people. Yeah. At the end of the day. It's not that I had any, you know, problems with gay people, but, you know, I grew up in the 90s when people used to really frown upon homosexuality, even in the music, you know what I'm saying? You had Ghostface saying, men marrying men, ill. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You had Eminem, like,
Eminem.
Like, oh my, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I didn't know anything about it, but just riding around with him every day and listening to him talk, he was just a funny ass dude. And I found his stories of trying to get laid in Charleston, South Carolina, a gay man in Charleston, South Carolina.
Man, I can't imagine.
This red state. I just found his stories so funny, and he would always tell me, like, I just pay him. I pay him $250 for head, $500 for penetration. And I just thought that shit was so funny. So I'm probably telling all Haji business. Fuck. But anyway, I would love to see Haji. I don't know where he is now, but it's just like he hired me. So when he hired me, that's how I was in the radio station, and then, you know, sitting around with guys like Willie Will and, you know, being with Baby J and Tessa and whoever else, Ron White was just like, yo, you should be on the air. So he started putting me on the air voice tracking 11 to 3 on Sunday mornings. That worked because that's when I got the confirmations from the Tessa, and it was another guy named Reggie C who worked there who both told me I sounded great, but I was scaring all the church folks. My energy was too much for Sunday morning. So then Ron was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have you voice track 7 to 10 on Saturdays, but then from 10 to 12, you're going to go live. And we used to call it Club 93 from 10 to 12. And like, yo, going live from 10 to 12 really kind of started the Charlemagne you all know and love now. Because it was all, you know, I was always myself voice tracking, and I would always start the show off with like this like crazy monologue, kind of like just almost on some positive motivation, powerful, I'm here to conquer the world type shit. I'm the Allen Iverson of radio. That's right. I'm the Allen Iverson of radio because the league can't stand my image, but they got no choice but to respect my game. And then I would go into like some hard ass record like Beanie Siegel, The Truth. So I would like set the tone.
Yeah.
And then when we started going live 10 p.m. to midnight, it was just phone calls and me fucking with people. You know what I'm saying? Like me just talking shit and everybody talking shit. And it just kind of like took off from there. And then that's when Hot 98.9 came into the market, and Hot 98.9 started to hear me, you know, and it was like, yo, that dude is wild for the night. And then I was really on some like street shit. Everything was about the streets. Like everything was, I'm from the streets. I'm the gutter. I'm gutter, grimy. Like, cause I really was, you know. So all of that was like that. And then you'd have those guys on the other station talking about, he ain't from no fucking streets. You know what I'm saying? Like yada yada yada, this and that. And I was stupid. I would do stuff like go pull up on these people, and, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you think I am, but I ain't no punk, right? It was just, it was really dumb ass hood posturing. I probably could have got my ass kicked a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know, caught these guys at the right time when it was just
every time. Yeah,
because I would go to their places, like, and it was just stupid.
Yeah.
And High 98.9 was a beautiful situation, man. I got to thank my man George Cook. He does, like I said, he's the operations manager at K104 in Dallas. And he was like, I want you to have a morning show at night. So that's when I had like features. I'd have like 8 o'clock. So it'd be like Hot 98.9, holla if you're hating. And people would just call in hating.
Just hating on shit?
Hating on shit. Like just, hating.
Anything.
Anything. People was getting in fights at schools and all kind of shit. And then I do like lyrical warfare at 9 o'clock where I'd have people just call in and rap live. And they'd be cursing and I'd just be hanging up on them, oh, you're whack. And I had this drop called Babonki, and you are Babonki, Babonki. And everybody used to be laughing at that. And then at 11 o'clock, I would turn around and do The Quiet Storm. I do Charlemagne the God, Thug Love Status. Where I play number of slow songs. You know what I'm saying? I played slow songs from 11 to 12 and then end with some motivation at the end of the night.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So you were always Charlemagne, man.
Always Charlemagne, and got fired for being Charlemagne.
At that station?
I got fired from Hot 98.9. I got fired. I took that station. I think when I got there, the night show was number 14. Then it jumped to number 2 in the ratings. And they fired me. I've never asked George this though. I gotta ask. I think they fired him first, Big Gio. They fired George first because he wouldn't fire me because there was a consultant named Michael Newman who hated me. And you know that,
what? You don't know why?
Yeah, I know why. He thought that I just sounded terrible. And that was a very humbling experience for me because I was so arrogant at that time. Like I was super arrogant. Like I was, because you gotta think I'm from South Carolina. I'm from Moncks Corner. I'm 20 minutes from Charleston. I was born in Charleston. So I was doing radio in Charleston. So you got the class clown, disruptive kid who's now on the radio getting paid to be the class clown, disruptive kid. So I was always pretty cool. Like I always had a popularity, you know, about me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now this guy's on the radio. So we was going to the clubs 10, 15 deep. You know, I used to have mad girls in and out the station. I used to be on the mic saying those white people downstairs don't give a damn about me. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I would listen to like Star and Buck and all of those guys back then, and I used to love how bold they were. So I thought I could be just as bold, you know. And it's just like they fired me. I remember they fired Big George, and then they brought in a new program director named Corey Hill, and Corey was just like, you know, you got to change everything about you. Like he got rid of all my features. You know, the guy Michael Newman was like, yo, he's yelling at people, and he was right. At the time, I was like, this motherfucker don't know what the fuck he talking about. White dude from Dallas telling me how to talk to my people in Charleston. But at the time, he was absolutely right. When I look back, I was yelling. I'd be on the Charlemagne the God, Hot 98.9, holla if you're hating. Like I was always screaming. I was wild. And it's like I remember they let Tracy Cloherty hear my air check in New York, and I was like, oh, she's gonna love me. She's gonna bring me to New York. I'm gonna stay middle finger to all of y'all, and I'm gonna win. That's not what happened. They was like, this guy sounds terrible. He's horrible. The best part of the show is the thug love when he's actually just talking to people. And that was the advice that they gave me. Like, yo, we just want have a conversation with people. You're yelling at people. Learn how to have a conversation, and you know. I didn't grasp that until later on in my radio career.
That's what I was gonna ask is, did you take that advice?
Not at the time.
Because I feel like when you're young and like shit's going well, you're like,
Nah, not at the time. That was my first taste of like celebrity. Like, I remember going to a club called the Nightlife in King Street, South Carolina, and they had my name on the marquee. And Charlemagne the God. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then when I got out there, they was really acting like I was somebody.
yeah,
Like they was acting like I was really popping.
yeah,
And this girl was like, yo, I'm gonna do anything you tell me to do.
yeah.
She said that verbatim. I'm gonna do anything Charlemagne the God tells me
When you
to
first
do.
experienced that,
That was my first groupie action.
Yeah.
Like, she fucked the whole team.
really,
Yeah, you know what I'm
just
saying?
off of your fame.
Off of my fame.
See, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
So-
When you get that first, I always ask people that too, because it's always like that first like blow up or that first level where you're just like, it's never like that again. It's almost like drug, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's almost like drugs in the sense of, or what people say about drugs in the sense of like that first feeling when you first start getting money or fame or whatever it is. Like you'll never really match that again.
Nah, and you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. We treated her great that weekend, like, you know, because this is all a bunch of dope boys. I was still hanging around with my dope boy friends. So they was buying her stuff, and you know, and then I remember taking her with me, and she was trying to make money, so she was giving people half of money and all kind of shit. So it's like I looked like the man, because I'm like, yo, this dude Charlemagne not only has the most popping radio show in the city, he is pimping. You know what I'm saying? Even though I wasn't really pimping, it just seemed like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, God humbled my black ass.
And when that was when you got fired?
That's the first time I got fired, and that is I've been fired 4 times from radio. That station right there, Hot 98.9. I've always been so self-aware that I knew I got fired from that station because I was misusing my platform. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what humbled you, you're saying?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what made me realize, like, yo, it's power in this microphone, and if I'm gonna be using it just to get pussy, you know, it's not gonna go well for me. And you know, I think that God took me away from that situation to humble me, teach me a lesson. And then, you know, I was doing A&R work with Never So Deep Records, who I gotta give so much credit to. My man, Dr. Robert Evans, and his son, DJ Bless. You know, they like family to me to this day. And I mean, I love them so much because they kind of like just took me in when I really needed it. Like I didn't need to be back in Monk's Corner around my hood dudes. That wouldn't have worked out well. I needed a different level of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to evolve. And mind you, I had been rocking with Never So Deep since I had first started at Z93 and all through Hot 98.9. But I'm talking about at that point when I had gotten fired, because from Z9, I left Z93 to go to Hot 98.9. So I had a radio job for a couple years until I had got fired. And then when I got fired, you know, a lot of times, man, people only fuck with you because of the position you're in.
Yeah.
You know, Never So Deep didn't do that. Never So Deep was like, no, this is our brother. You know what I mean? Dr. Robert Evans treated me like a son. Still treats me like a son. And like, you know, he's a like a 100th degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. And he's a retired NYPD police officer, so he's very disciplined. So he was PTS. He'd have us praying all the time, you know what I mean? Training, eating right. Like he was really just preparing me for that next level. And I did a CD called Charlemagne the God Concrete Champ, the radio show, which was all Never So Deep's artists. And it was me. I had it structured like a radio show. And I put this out. And I put out like maybe 1,000 copies throughout South Carolina. I really just sent it to all the radio stations. And a program director named Mike Love heard it. And Mike Love hired me to do radio at the Big DM in Columbia, South Carolina, which is the capital of South Carolina. It's like an hour and a half from Charleston. And that worked out for me so well because my wife my now wife, she started going to the University of South Carolina. And that was my longtime girlfriend. So now I had a reason to be in Columbia every weekend, not just because of her, but because I was doing radio on the Big DM in Columbia. And I started doing radio. You want me to keep going with the story? I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
All right.
I'll just interrupt you if I had like a particular. Because let me ask you this too: did you walk into that new gig? Did you feel like with a new mindset, or was there still a little bit of the old stuff? Or
I had a totally new mindset. I wasn't in the hood. You know, Dr. Robert Evans had my mind all the way right. I understood the power of the platform. I understood the magnitude of being on the radio in Columbia, because I always had loved Columbia because we used to go to assemblies there. My mother was a Jehovah's Witness, so we used to go to the assemblies in Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia's a college town. So you got the University of South Carolina, you got Benedict College, you got Allen, you got Columbia College, you got neighboring towns like Orangeburg that got South Carolina State and Claflin. So you got, Big DM is a 100,000 watt station. So you have so much ears.
Yeah.
And they put me on Thursday through Sunday. No. Yeah, Thursday night through Sunday night. So I was on like 10 to 2 on Thursdays, 7 to midnight on Fridays, 10 to 2 on Thursdays, 10 to 2 on Fridays, 7 to midnight on Saturday and Sunday. And like, thanks to George, I realized how to really structure a radio show. So I had new features by the time I got there. I had like Dr. Shaw, a ghetto psychiatrist, where I would, stage these bits where I would have people, ask me the craziest life advice, and I'd give them like solutions to it. It'd be like crazy stories, like this guy's in love with his dog, and I structured it to make it seem like, yo, ain't nothing wrong being gay, you know what I'm saying? It's cool, you can be in love with your dog, you know what I mean? You call your homeboy your dog, but he was really fucking a dog, And
you made up the question, or that was a real question?
I would make up the question.
Okay,
I'd make up the question, stage the bits. And I'd do some real ones too, but like for the big finale, it'd always be something I made up. And I did Dr. Shaw, ghetto psychiatrist. I did Hate O'Clock, but Mike Love told me that's too negative. I need to cut that. And I was like, all right, cool. And I really popped off in Columbia. The reason I really popped off in Columbia is because, of the features, but also celebrity interviews. Yeah. Because, we didn't really get access to artists like that in Charleston. But my first interview ever at Z93 Jams in Charleston was Fabulous. And then my second live interview was Fabulous. Fabulous was actually in studio. My second interview was Little John over the phone. Yeah. And I never had a problem asking people those real.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, were you doing the same style of interview then, like the real?
Yeah, because I'm a fan at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I had questions. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember asking Little John, "Why the fuck are you acting like the Confederate flag is like something noble? Like why are you?" And he went through the whole thing like, yo, we repurposing it the same way we repurposed the N-word. Yeah, like the same shit that Kanye is saying now, Lil Jon was saying back then, and anybody act like he wasn't is lying. Yeah. A lot of guys were. A lot of dudes were taking the Confederate flag and making it red, black, and green, trying to repurpose it. So in Columbia, I remember interviewing T.I., on the Big DM. T.I. was in between record labels. He had just gotten dropped from LaFace, and he was pushing the single 24s. It was on white label on CD. T.I. was in there with the dirty Great Champion hoodie, like still fresh, looking like he fresh off the block, And then I interviewed quite a few people at the Big DM, but I remember the Big DM actually flipped formats. So they went from being the hip hop and R&B station. They started off as the Urban AC station before I got there. Flipped to hip hop and R&B to try to take out the competitive hip hop and R&B station Hot 103.9. They did that. Then they flipped back to Urban AC. The reason they flipped back is because the company Intercity Broadcasting, after Big DM beat Hot 103.9, bought Hot 103.9. So when they bought Hot 103.9, now mind you, Hot 103.9 was the popping station before Big DM flipped formats. Mike Love was just such a good program director. He knew how to take them out. Yeah. But Hot 103.9 was the station that you really wanted to be on. Yeah. They had people like my man Pizzo Coconuts, who I used to love. Like they were the station, Big Sexy. So they ended up moving me to Hot 103.9. And I remember Big Sexy saying, this is the equivalent of Bill Goldberg joining the WWE. I remember him saying that on the air, and I was like, oh shit. Like they look at me like that. Yeah. And so like Hot 103.9 is why I really took off, because I started utilizing the internet. And Big Sexy used to have me on his show every night, and I had my own show called Charlemagne the God's Concrete Jungle, which I started on the Big DM. Yeah. And it just became a thing. Like for whatever reason, I started landing like great interviews. Like I interviewed Mobb Deep. You know what I'm saying? Both of them in Columbia, South Carolina. Yes, I got to find all these old ad checks, man. Dang. I interviewed, Memphis Bleak, and it was a great interview because I was like really fucking with him about, being in Jay-Z's shadow. You know what I mean? Like asking him wild, dumb shit. Like, yo, is it cool in the shadow of Jay-Z's nuts? Like stupid shit like that. And it was Bleak and the Young Guns all in the studio at one time. They could have fucked me up. But Bleak was such a good sport. But that interview got deleted. And I remember Big Sexy was like, yo, where's the interview? I'm like, I don't know. I thought I recorded it. Yeah. And he was like, yo, we got to say something. So it was like, yo.
It never even aired.
It never aired.
Oh, shit.
So you got to think, this is before social media. This is before cameras in the studio and stuff. So we got on the air, and Big Sexy was like, yo, Charlemagne and Memphis Bleak just got into a fight.
And just left it at that.
They just got into a fight. Chains was snatched. I don't know. I just saw Charlemagne around here with a Rockefeller chain. We didn't realize it was going to blow up in that way. Like, it blew up so much that all hip-hop put it on their rumor report. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like coincidence that Rockefeller started the Chain Remains campaign after that.
Damn.
But
From that?
No, it was because Jay and Dame had broke up. So Jay took a set of artists, but Jay was like the Chain Remains. Like, I guess, Rockefeller remains with me.
Yeah.
But in South Carolina, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Charlemagne took the chain.
Oh man.
And it was just so stupid. And it was just like all like those type of Buffy the Body came in, and I was basically being honest with Buffy, like, yo, don't you want to be known for more than your body? Don't you want to be known for like your brain? Like, what happens when you get older and you start to lose your looks? And she'd spaz, I'm gonna go get more butt shots. She threw CDs at me and walked out. And like Wendy Williams spoke about that. You know what I mean? Like Wendy Williams spoke about that on her show. Yeah. Because Wendy was syndicated on Hot 103.9 because Inner City Broadcasting owned WBLS in New York too. So Wendy used to be the afternoon show on Hot 103.9. So her producers were hearing about me and she was shouting me out. And then, she would come down to the market, her and her husband, and like we just showed them the utmost love. You know what I mean? Like same thing, get them weed, get them, they'd buy us bottles in the club. We'd hold them down, take them from club to club. Yeah. And we just built a rapport with each other. And
was that, can I ask you real quick, was that all like, that was obviously before YouTube and all that stuff, right? So this was all on like getting posted on blogs?
Blogs, message boards.
Got it. And so is that when you do you think you started to connect at that time to like the power of like your angle, like a real honest, blunt interview and where that could go?
Yeah, but I honestly was just being me. I enjoyed it, just like I enjoy it to this day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I just enjoyed talking to these people like they were just regular people. Yeah. It was like it was an ego boost to me. Like, because my father used to always say to me, motherfuckers put their pants on just like you. Like they shit stinks just like you. If you don't believe it, wipe your ass and smell it. Your shit stinks and so does theirs. So I just used to get a rise out of just talking to people the same way we would talk on the block. Like that's what we do. Like you ain't nobody special. And I remember Trey Songz coming there, and Trey Songz and his people saying, you need to be in New York, man. You got that Star and Buck shit. I remember Freeway coming there and saying, nigga, you like a male Wendy Williams. Like, I remember all of that type of shit. Like, and by the way, my man DJ Chuck T, he has a CD that we made back in the day called Charlemagne the God's Concrete Jungle Volume 1. And it was all these moments. Because at that time, I was recording everything. Yeah. So those moments were on there. Yeah. So I got all those moments on a CD.
So you still have it all?
Yeah, Chuck T has it. Chuck T put it out. Like, it's out. Like, I gotta find it. That's years ago, but I gotta find it. That's literally like 15 years ago. But I have all of that type of stuff.
You should release that in like podcast form or something. Like Charlemagne Classic interviews.
I should, right?
Yeah. Because you just do a podcast with anything now.
I should.
Okay, so then did you get fired from that radio station also?
Big DM flip formats. Went to Hot 103.9. Me and Wendy built a rapport. Got a note that the first time I met Wendy, I walked into the studio and I was all hype. I had mad mixtapes of mine and, parody songs I wanted her to hear. And she told me to get the fuck out of this studio while she's trying to do her show. She said, get the fuck out of here with that mixtape shit. She said, take that mixtape shit to my husband. I could have been disappointed, could have been offended. I said, where's your husband? She said, he's in the hall, over there in the office. Yeah. I went right across the hall. Oh, what's up, man? My name's Charlemagne. Here's my mixtapes, blah, blah, blah. And me and him started a conversation because on the front of the tape, I had a tape called Hate Is Necessary. Yep. And on the front, it was Bill O'Reilly, Wendy Williams, and me. And he said to me, the fuck you trying to say my wife's a hater? I said, no, I'm saying that we live in an era where people, when you tell somebody the truth, they say you're hating. Mm-hmm. So truth is necessary. So if truth is necessary, then hate must be necessary too. He looked at me, he was like, I like that. I like that. I like that. So that's how we built the rapport. Uh-huh. But I used to enjoy listening to Wendy in the afternoon. But my then program director, nobody else liked Wendy in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Like everybody at the station hated that shit. Mm-hmm. Like they was like, my program director used to do afternoons. He was mad that they moved his spot and Wendy was on. So they would always constantly complain about Wendy. So eventually, NSC Broadcast was like, all right, keep her on, just move her 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So they moved her 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. But they would just rerun the same show every fucking day. Yeah. So I called Wendy's husband one time, like, yo, what's up with this show? And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yo, they keep rerunning the same show over and over and over. He was like, what? He's like, yo, I'm coming down there. So he came down there for the weekend. He heard it for himself, went back up to New York, raised hell. A couple weeks later, I get demoted. The reason I got demoted is because I was getting sued by a local nightclub in Columbia. The reason I was getting sued is because it was always an urban legend that the guy who ran the club was putting date rape drug in girls' drinks and taking advantage of them. We never could prove it until one time this young lady actually pressed charges against him. Guy got arrested. Police came to search his house. They actually found date rape drug and drinks in his crib. And so I took his mugshot, put it up on my MySpace page. And I was like, yo, we need to be very aware of what's going on at this guy's club. Look what this dude got arrested for. You know, we can still keep frequenting this club, or we need to make a stand and be like, yo, we're not attending this club no more because of what he's doing to women.
Yeah.
And so this guy sues me.
So what, defamation of character or something?
But there was no defamation because it was all actual and factual.
Yeah.
I didn't make any of this shit up. And so the radio station settles with this guy for $2,000. Demote me to 1 day a week. Now, I was in line to actually be the full-time night guy because I was still only part-time because me and Big Sexy used to do the show together. Then Big Sexy left to go to Atlanta. Me and my homegirl Venom started doing the show together. And so they was either going to give me or Venom the show together because they used to do this thing called the Hot Boys. So they was going to either keep us doing the show together or give one of us the night show. They ended up giving it to this dude from out of town because of that situation. Like I ended up getting demoted to 1 day a week. So when Kev heard about it, I think Venom or somebody told Kev. Kev thought I got demoted because of me
snitching.
Yeah. So he was like, man, come to New York. You know, we having a party. So flew to New York, me, my homeboy DJ Frosty. We flew to New York. And when we got to New York, we went to the party. And in the party that night, Wendy was like, yo, come on my show tomorrow. She was like, Charlamagne, what's up? Come on my show tomorrow. You can't tell me shit like that. I don't give a fuck if you drunk. I don't give a fuck if you high.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm there. So yo, Kev, Wendy said, yo, she want me to come on the show tomorrow. You're like, all right. Calling Kev all the next day. Kev, when do you want me to come on the show? When do you want me to come on the show? When should I go? When should I go? He's like, hold on. He's like, all right, go up there right now. I went up there. I was there for like 25 minutes. And I just went in there and was me.
You were on the air for 25
minutes with Wendy. I was me to the utmost of my ability. You know, and that night, Kev was like, yo, Wendy wants to make the transition to television. You know what I'm saying? We about to start doing a lot of TV shit. You know, she wants somebody that's from radio, that's edgy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you the perfect person. We don't want no comedian. You know, we wanted a radio person. I had tried a couple comedians before, but we don't want that. We want, you know, somebody that's from radio. And, you know, she thinks it's you. All right. Can't pay you though. We can give you a place to stay. Cool.
Yeah. In New York.
Yeah. But they gave me a place to stay in Jersey. And the reason I took that position is because I recognize opportunity when there's not a paycheck attached to it. Yeah. You know, so
that's a tough one for a lot of people too.
It is, but I ain't had shit to lose. Yeah. Like I said, I don't got no degrees. I didn't have no kids at the time. I mean, just my girl, you know, and my mindset was if we meant to be together, then we'll be together in the future. Yeah. We together now. Been together 20 years, 3 kids later, you know, been married 5 years, you know, after being together 20. So I think we doing all right. Yeah. So I left, went there and did Wendy, worked there illegally for like a year and a half. Finally got put on payroll. And they got fired from there in 2008.
What did you get fired from there for?
I think it was a mixture of things, man. It was at the time my homegirl Nicole Spence, she was Wendy's booker / assistant, and she too was like one of the original Me Too Times Up people, and she did a lawsuit against Wendy's husband, you know, for sexual harassment and, you know, creating a hostile work environment, and you know, she wasn't lying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She wasn't lying, and she ended up getting a settlement, and they ended up firing Wendy's whole team except for like the board op. But they also fired like 15 other people that day, just from WBLS Inner City Broadcasting in general. Yeah. So you got to remember in 2008, the economy was fucked up.
So that was just like an excuse to be able to clear house?
Yeah. And plus, like, you know, at the time, it was a new rating system that was in place called the PPM. And like Wendy's numbers had went from like #1 to #20, even though the PPM was bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like it was just a new rating system. Like we know she didn't lose that much listenership. It's just the way that they tracked ratings was bullshit at the time. It's leveled out now.
Yeah.
But back then it didn't. So she was already like, fuck it, I'm about to go to TV anyway, man.
Got it.
And so they got rid of me. They fired me then. And I was out of radio for like 8-9 months. You know,
What did you do? What do you do when you're in New York?
I played daddy daycare because my daughter was born June of that year.
So you went back home?
No, I stayed in Jersey. My wife had a job.
In Jersey?
And my wife had a job in New York, but we lived in Jersey.
Got it.
So I just, you know, stayed at home playing daddy daycare, which I love because, you know, to this day, me and my daughter have such a great bond. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's 10 now. But I think we have such a bond because of I was the one changing the diapers and feeding her, you know, early on, and singing to her, playing Ghostface featuring Music Soul Child Love because he used to make her go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's my heart, you know. And we both cancers. Like her birthday's 2 days before mine, so that's my heart. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say I got a favorite daughter.
But you're saying it.
I do. You know what I mean? But she's been with me the longest.
Daughters?
I had 3, a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-month-old.
And you just went on record that you have a favorite.
But I mean, now. But she's been here the longest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I was a hoe in the past life, so I got nothing but girls. So I was at home, and then, you know, I got the call from 100.3 to beat in Philadelphia. My man, Johnny.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever, through the first firing when you were really feeling yourself, the Wendy firing, did you ever question your abilities, if you were on the right path?
I questioned the first one because I didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
I'm from Moncks Corner. I was born in Charleston. I lived in Charleston. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, Charleston was the end-all, be-all. I didn't know I could go work in another market and do radio.
But so, Wendy, you were more like, this was just a victim of circumstance.
Wendy was hurtful, too, because that was what got my name on the national conversation. Like, I was on VH1. Like, I didn't want to let go of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on VH1. I was on Wendy every day. And I'm not going to front. Wendy and her husband had me feeling like they was God. Like, I kind of lost myself.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a person of faith and always knowing God had a greater plan for me. But they had me thinking that they were the end-all, be-all. Yeah. Like, if I don't do what they want me to do, then they can snap their fingers like Thanos and my whole career would be absolutely done. Like that's how they used to threaten me. Like, you know, you'll be frying fish in the morning back in South Carolina. Like that kind of shit. So when I got fired, you know, it was like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. You know, so I kind of just like hit out at home playing daddy daycare. And, you know, it was good because, you know, that's when social media came into play because Twitter.
Yep.
My man Lil Duval was like, yo, you got to get on Twitter. You got to get on Twitter. You ain't no fucking job. It was kind of like Friday, except the weed, except the new drug was social media.
For real.
You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do. Get on this Twitter shit. Yeah. So I used to be on Twitter just tweeting, not even knowing that you could interact.
Yeah, I read that in the book.
Yeah.
And then finally one day you saw like oh, there's a reply.
Yeah, I hit the ad reply. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you see, like it was literally, I remember Angela Yee being one of the first people I saw.
Yeah.
And Angela Yee asking me to come on her show.
Mm-hmm. Where was she at? Was she in New York at the time?
She was on Shade 45.
Got it.
She had her own morning show on Shade 45. And I didn't see that. So I was like, yo, I just finally realized how to work this Twitter shit. I'd love to come on your show. So I got to give Angela props. I got to salute her because when I didn't have a radio job, she let me come on her show and just co-host with her. Yeah. You know what I mean? And she would let me, I remember in particular, she knew I used to give Mims shit all the time. Mm-hmm. And Mims was there one time. And she let me call in and just roast Mims.
Like about what? Did only have one record? Or
I just used to kill like, yo, you're whack. You know, ain't shit hot about you. Like, I just like, you look like a fucking Mr. Potato Head with no accessories. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a fucking potato.
Why Mims? Why Mims get all
that? I was an asshole. I really don't know. And then
tell me about Philly real quick.
Yeah, that's how.
Because I want to get you out of here, so you got a haircut.
Yeah, that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up getting the job in Philly, because Philly remembered me from Wendy Williams.
Yep.
And they called me, and Johnny Glover called me, and it was him and a brother named Elroy Smith and Moshe, and they asked me to come do mornings in Philly. That's how me and Wendy's husband kind of had our first falling out, because I took that job in like 2009.
Yep.
yo, I was just happy to be getting a new job because nobody was hiring people. They had mad hiring freezes at companies all throughout the country. Barack Obama just is in the White House.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to offer me $70,000 a year. I never gave a fuck about the money. I just wanted the opportunity. And you know, I took that job, and he was mad at me because he wanted me to get like $250,000 a year, and he wanted me to negotiate the situation.
Was he like kind of managing you, or
unofficially?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Nothing on paperwork, anything like that, but unofficially. And I remember, man, you know, like I'm like, if I go down here with Kev, I'm not gonna get this job because I know what type of person he is. You know what I'm saying? He's a aggressive, loud. We want 250,000. I'm like, yo, I'm not Wendy. I'm Charlemagne. Yeah. You can do that with Wendy because Wendy's Jay-Z. I'm Bleak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the young gun. Like, ain't nobody giving me that kind of money. I got to earn my keep.
Yeah.
And I remember taking that job and him getting so mad at me. And I remember Wendy telling me, like, he'll get over it. I understand why you did what you did. You did the right thing. Go down there and kick ass. He'll get over it. I went down there, kicked ass. He got over it, you know? But I ended up getting fired from there after 8 months.
Why'd you get fired from there?
They brought in a new program director. His name was Boogie D. Boogie D just wanted to bring in his own people. Boogie D was a dickhead though. Boogie D, I remember, and I remember the first time I met Boogie, I said, "What's up? Hey, how are you, man?" He was like, "Me and you gonna be able to get along."
That's how we started?
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
Like, no,
bro?
Clearly not.
I don't even know you. Yeah. Like, why would you come off on me like that? So he always used to come off on me in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they told him to come in there and like snap the whip. Like, you know, this is the guy, he don't listen. You know, he's got a reputation. He might think he's all high and mighty because he rolls with Wendy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how his mentality was. And I remember he fired me after 8 months. And I remember them telling him, they said, look, you fired Charlemagne and we don't know why. He's got like the number 2, number 3 show in the city in a PPM market. If whatever you do doesn't work, we sending you back to St. Louis.
Is that what happened?
So Boogie started filling in himself, and then he bought in Star and Buck Wild to do mornings in Philly. And none of that shit worked. And the radio station doesn't even exist anymore. And they moved Boogie D back to St. Louis.
Does that feel good, or are you not that petty?
Feels great.
Yeah.
I loved it. That's why I named them in the book. Like, they need to hold these L's. Same way we all got to live our truths.
Yeah.
All of these people have to live their truths.
Yeah. I just love when you have those rough moments, but you kind of keep it real, and then you get to I hate to even say it out loud, but you get to kind of enjoy someone else's failure, and like an "I told you so" moment.
Yeah, you fall up.
Yeah.
You know, but the good thing about Philly was I had Beanie Siegel. Beanie Siegel was my last interview. And I remember Kevin saying this to me. Kevin said, yo, you're only good as your last show. You went out with a bang.
Yeah.
Because this is the rise of social media.
Yeah.
So a lot of my interviews in that short 8-9 month span had went super viral. When I interviewed Cassie and Red Cafe, and then I had Beanie Siegel in there. And Beanie was airing out Jay-Z. He was just going in on Jay. That's when him and Jay had a beef.
And that was that interview blew up?
Huge. So much so Jay-Z had to respond to it that weekend. And the interview came out on Friday. Interview came out on a Thursday. I did the radio that Friday. Came back that Monday. Got fired that Monday. I had all my clothes packed in the car. Getting ready to move all my clothes into my new townhouse in Philly. My wife and everybody getting ready to move in. And I got fired that Monday. Jesus. And so it went from Friday having this big viral moment with Beanie Siegel to getting fired on Monday. Now the story is Jay-Z got Charlemagne fired.
Ah, shit. I didn't even think about that.
So if you watch this Vlad TV interview I did from that time, right after that, I told Vlad, I said, yo, this is going to read great in the book one day.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not mad.
And that was really your mentality then?
Yeah, it's on record. I said it. I said it on that video. I said, this is going to read really great in the book one day.
You have just this crazy like sense of like in these moments knowing, I don't know what it is, man, like the bigger picture or the right move, or like to even walk in, like 99% of people, if you had the opportunity to walk into a radio station with Wendy Williams' husband and he said you're worth 250, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm worth 250, whatever you say.
Yeah.
But to have the presence of mind to be like, nah, man, chill, you're going to blow it for me. Like you've had a lot of those moments.
Yes.
It's really good, man.
I know what I'm worth now, though.
Yeah.
You
Sure
know,
do.
I blew past 250 a long time ago.
Yeah.
What I'm saying,
bet.
my deal is up next year with iHeart. I know what I'm worth now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
but
like,
that's the way you got to play it. That's why I always try to tell people is like you have to like earn that. You have to earn to get to the point of saying now I can. Now I know what I'm worth.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's interesting. I make more in all my outside ventures than I do
Yeah,
at iHeart right now.
I bet.
But I know that'll change with my new deal.
With the new deal.
Yeah, I know all that'll change with my new deal.
And then you, man, I love one part of the part of your story of getting fired so many times from radio is like it's like the Michael Jordan like drop from the college basketball team thing. Like it's like it's so good for your story now that you got fired from radio that many times, and now you're like
Philly was the fourth time.
Yeah,
and you know, when I got fired from radio in Philly, I met with my man G-Spin, me and Kev. Because, see, that's the thing Kev was mad about before, that I didn't take him to go talk to the management, you know, in Philly. So when I got fired and it came time for me to have conversations with Power 105, I was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I brought Kev with me, Wendy's husband. Lo and behold, that's the reason I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job because his reputation preceded him. So when I left, all the salespeople and everybody was coming upstairs telling Cadillac, you cannot hire Charlamagne if Kev is his manager. Kev is a bad person. He's got bad energy. He's gonna fuck things up. Like, yo, all kind of stuff. So I didn't end up getting that job. But then I remember being in New York like in June of 2010 and just hitting G-Spin up like, yo, I'm in New York. He was like, yo, come by the station. Came to the station. He was like, yo, my boss, Cadillac Jack, who's a great mentor to me to this day, him and G-Spin, he said, my boss has been watching you and Duval's Hood State of the Unions all day long.
Was that on YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. So I remember going in there having a conversation with Cadillac and him saying, first thing he said, is Kev still your manager? I said, nah. He said, why not? I said, cuz, man, when you pray to God to take negativity out your life, he's not swinging at spirits. He's swinging at people and things. That's the embodiment of that negativity. And Cadillac was like, guy's got a weird energy, doesn't he? And he told me the story about how everybody was so against me being on the station if Kev was my manager. And he was like, how long can you wait for this job? And I was like, however long it takes. And he was like, all right. And then around that summer is when he started hitting me, asking me like who I would want to work with. And I was like, Angela Yee.
Yeah.
And he was like, isn't she like you? And I was like, nah, she's not like me. Like she had that reputation because she was on Shade 45, so you could curse and all that stuff like that.
Yep.
And so he was like, all right. So then they came up with the idea to have Envy, because Envy was like the New York staple. He could be like the anchor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To keep the show moving. Yeah. You know, while I do what I do, Angela does what she does. And that's how the Breakfast Club was born. And, you know,
crazy.
From the time we got together in November of 2010, I was the guy running around saying, we're going to be a nationally syndicated radio show. Yeah. I was like, yo, we might as well take Nicki Minaj saw a moment for life right now, where he said, in this moment we'll be syndicated and like do viral videos to it. We're going to be a nationally syndicated morning show. I just knew it. And now, 100 plus markets later, 150 countries, the Breakfast Club is a nationally syndicated morning show, which still feels so surreal to me, because 20 years ago, I would look back and say, I want to be Tom Joyner. I want to be Doug Banks. You know, I want to be Wendy Williams. I want to be Star and Buck. Now, my show, The Breakfast Club, our show is bigger than Wendy's show was in national syndication, bigger than Star and Buck was in national syndication, on par with the Tom Joyners. You know what I'm saying? Like, if not bigger at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah, matter of fact, we are bigger than Tom Joyner.
Man, like it's even like your integration into the culture. Like Drake mentioning you in records, and like you are such a staple of the culture now. Like, it's insane, man. To hear you tell it, and to hear you say that those are the people you used to look up to and you used to think one day I want to be like them, and then now because I have obviously a different perspective of you, right? I have a perspective pretty much as just a consumer. Like, now you are this thing that's like this larger than life. You know what I mean? It's fucking incredible.
Thank you. And everything's generational, right? Like, I knew eventually, you know, Tom Joyner would get old. Doug Banks, God bless the dead, would get old. Or Wendy would get old. Or Star would get old. Like, it's just like basketball. Like, yeah, you got your Jordan. Yeah. But you're going to have your Kobe. Yeah. You're going to have your LeBron. It's going to be somebody after LeBron. You know what I mean? Just like it's going to be somebody after me. Yeah. It's going to be somebody listening to this interview right now. Yeah. And I'm inspiring them. And they're going to be in this position 15 years from now. Like, that's just the way the game goes. Like, and you just have to understand that. Like, I'm not going to be doing this radio thing forever. You know what I mean? That's why I embrace the new generation so much. Like, I embrace the new generation of DJs, radio personalities, rappers, you know, actors. I don't know who's gonna be who. I just like creative, talented people.
Yeah.
And like I like to use my platforms to big them up. You know what I'm saying? To lift them up, to empower them. I want to be the adult that I needed as a child. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Wendy helped empower me. Yeah. Even though she don't claim me now, you know what I mean? You know, but she did help empower me, you know? Yeah. So that's what I like to do for other people. I love when I got a show on MTV2 like Uncommon Sense and I can have Jesus and Mero on my show. You know what I mean? I can have Cardi B on my show before she was a rapper. Have Cardi B on The Breakfast Club before she was rapping, playing Cardi B's first single, Cheap Ass Weave. And everybody think I'm trolling when I say Cardi B's gonna be a superstar. You know what I mean? I love having DC Young Fly on The Breakfast Club 5 years ago. I love having Chico Bean on Uncommon Sense. Like I love, you know, Tax Stone, give Tax Stone a podcast. Like I love being the guy that throws these assists and just helps elevate people's voices. You know what I'm saying? I love empowering other people. I feel like that's how your legacy lives forever. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't become, you know, you don't really establish legacy until you help other people create theirs. That's what I think. You know, so that's the beauty of being in the position that I'm in now, that I know that I'm a public servant and I'm just here to serve the needs of the public, and I'm here to help other people. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to help elevate these other conversations and these other voices. You know what I'm saying? Like I love what the Breakfast Club does now. But my ultimate goal, where I know I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have my own late night show on network television one day.
That's the next.
I know it. I know it. Like I there is no black male late night show host. There's no women late night, no woman late night show host. Last one we had was Arsenio. You know, I love what Stephen Colbert does. You know what I'm saying? I love what Jimmy Fallon does. I love what Jimmy Kimmel does. I think the next wave of that will be brothers. You know what I'm saying? It will be me, Nick Cannon, you know, Van Lathan. I feel like we're gonna see a time, because those guys are old. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys are in their 50s. There's gonna be a time in a decade or so, I don't know how long it's going to be, but there's going to be a time where it's going to be a wave of black late night hosts and women late night hosts on television. And I feel like, I feel like I've put in the work for that to be my next evolution.
So is that what you look at when you look at now, like I guess almost a mini version of when you used to look at Sway and those dudes and say, I'm going to be that one day. Now do you look at like, I'm going to be Colbert?
300%. And I feel like the last two times I got that rush, when I felt at home, I've done Stephen Colbert like 6 times. You know what I'm saying? I did Colbert a couple weeks ago, actually, when my book came out. I love Stephen Colbert. He's from South Carolina. You know, he shows me a lot of love and support, and I appreciate him for that. But I feel that energy when I'm out there. Like, I feel like I'm going to do this one day. You know, the way the crowd reacts to me, and you know, I can just feel it. And the other time I felt that rush was when I did Bill Maher. I'm like, this is
But that's kind of how you used to feel at radio, right? In the early days.
I still feel that way with radio. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, when you felt like this is my future,
this is it. Yes, this is it. Like you can. That's a great way to put it. I can feel my future. When I did Bill Maher, I felt my future. When I did, you know, Stephen Colbert, I felt my future. You know, the only problem with any of those networks is those networks have to give black people the same leniency they give white people.
And what do you mean?
I feel like when you're a black male, you have to be perfect to work for those networks. But they take the same flaws that a white male could have. They're not going to let the black person have those kind of imperfections.
But you want to know what I'm curious on your opinion on? Because what I would argue is like, you probably do have to do that to get in the door, but once the numbers prove themselves out, it doesn't matter anymore. Well, don't you think?
Yeah, but I just think we live in this era like, we all got a past. Like, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've seen write-ups about me. Charlemagne the God is a shock jock. You know, the hip-hop Howard Stern. So I'm grown now and I've evolved now, but you still got to deal with the person I was then. Because a lot of that rhetoric can come back to haunt you. Like I had some rhetoric come back to haunt me this summer from a few years ago. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I just think that's the price that unfortunately you're probably going to have to pay because
Yeah.
you're going to be first. But then you're going to do it and they're going to want to look for 10 more people like you. You know what I'm
indeed.
saying? Like
True
you're
indeed.
going to have to play that game, unfortunately, until you prove it out with the numbers. And then the next generation that comes up under you is not going to have to deal with that because you prove there's a market for that.
True indeed.
You know?
I can see that. You know what I mean? But then I'm also on the flip side, I don't want to play that game either because I don't have to.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Nobody does.
I got a Brilliant Idiots podcast.
Yep.
We doing like a couple million a month. You know, like that's a 7-figure situation. Yo, I'm surprised nobody bought your podcast yet. I'm sure you getting mad offers from people.
No. Wait, to buy it, you mean?
Yes.
Outright? No.
Yeah, I got people that are offering.
But like
us
who's even doing deals like that? Like Spotify, like what Joe Budden did?
Luminary, WME.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people out here offering 7-figure situations.
I just started doing ads. I was just running mine for
wow.
so long on
Really?
like for the love of the game. Like, cause I have a clothing brand, Young and Reckless,
it.
and it was
Young and Reckless is your shit?
yeah. That's what I do here. That's what this office is. The podcast is just me being like, yo, for the love of the game, I interview successful entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, and give this to the fans for free, right?
Oh yeah, they coming. Yeah, I'm surprised. They're gonna hear this right here. They coming. Trust me. Like the contracts that these people are offering are like outrageous. So it's like, wow, for a fucking podcast to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
You want to pay me
That's great.
a couple of M's? Like,
I'm into it.
You know what I'm saying?
Sick.
So it's like, listen, man. The currency is in the people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I love people. I'm a people person. You know what I'm saying? When I'm writing these books, I'm doing this because I'm sharing my experiences to empower other people. I don't know why people fuck with me the way that they do, Drum, but I appreciate it. As long as I got the people, I'm good. All of these networks, they want what I already have, which is the people.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want ratings. They want numbers. Ratings and numbers is what? People.
Yeah.
I have people. Thank
sure
God
do.
I have people.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't feel like I have to play that game. You know what I mean? I am what I am. The good, the bad, and the ugly of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, I've said some fucked up things in my journey, you know, but I've been doing radio for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to hold it against Howard Stern, don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
If you're not going to hold it against Bill Maher, don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
If you're not going to hold it against any of these other shock jock personalities, because there's really nothing shocking about anything that I'm doing other than being my true authentic self. If you're not going to hold it against any of them and they're still able to do America's Got Talent and whatever else, don't hold Charlemagne back from being able to do any of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm just saying, I think anytime old white dudes do late night TV, and that's what they're used to, and that's what's safe. And anytime anything changes, someone has to like do the extra shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. And
Anyway.
I'll be that. But trust me, that the same way we sitting here and I'm talking about things I said 20 years ago that came to pass.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here in the future, be like, yo, he told me he was gonna host his own.
Oh, I know.
Late night
I
show
can't wait
on
to
the
re-air
network.
this episode.
Yes.
In like 5 years.
100%.
Okay, I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Thank you, Drum.
Can I ask you one last question?
Of course.
If you could go back in time to Monk's Corner, you're running around getting in trouble, shooting at cars, not you, but other people with you, fighting. You could tell yourself one quick thing, now knowing everything you know. What would you tell yourself?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass. You know, but don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to evolve. Don't be afraid to learn from your mistakes as well as the mistakes of others. You know, and this ain't gonna be the first or last time you make a mistake in your life. Just constantly learn from it, and you'll be fine. And I feel like I must have went back to the future and told myself that, because that was always my mindset.
Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing about life, that's why age is so beautiful. When you're 40 years old and you can look back on everything that you've done, you realize none of it was as bad as it seemed in the moment.
Yeah.
So you really do understand that this too shall pass. That's why I laugh at like interns and young people now when they're acting like it's the end of the fucking world for things that they're telling me about things that are happening in their life at 20. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
okay, the book is out.
Shook One, Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me. Available everywhere you buy books right now, man. It's just about my dealings with anxiety, going to therapy to try to figure it out. You know, PTSD, trauma from things that happened to me when I was young. I have my man Dr. Ish Major in there giving the clinical correlations to
That was a great call.
all my experiences. Yeah, because I'm not an expert at anything.
I know,
You what
but
I'm
it's just
saying?
like you make it really relatable, and then that part is like, oh, I get that. You know, like you just
Yeah.
feel like someone says, "Hey, listen, this is what we want to tell you." It's almost like you get like a sampling of like therapy in the book.
Boom. That's exact, John. I'm so happy you said that because that's exactly what I wanted it to feel like. I wanted to express my vulnerabilities the way I would to my therapist,
Yeah.
and then have the therapist come in, and that's what a therapist would tell you.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, I want people to, if you wondering what therapy feels like, looks like, sounds like, it's right there in the book.
There it is.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, man. Can't thank you enough.
Yeah, man. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CThagod, CTHAGOD. Thank you, John.
There it is.
Guys, if you like that and you want to see more like it, as well as vlogs, other web series, and all the random stuff that I'm doing here on YouTube, don't forget to click that subscribe button. You won't regret it, I promise.